Farooq.
Hello, Madristas. Welcome once again to the Let's Be Real podcast. Today we're joining you after the victory at the Bernabeu against RB Leipzig. So I'll just let Sunate take the reins from there, and then he can host for the day.
Yeah, another fine outing. Not until maybe the 75th minute, but before we get into it, how are you guys doing? Um, did the match pan out the way you guys expected?
I mean, for me, it's 12 a.m., 12:20. Like I barely held myself together because I knew that we had to record after this. Otherwise, I was just gonna sleep and close the game. Like there was no point in watching, in my opinion.
Really? Can you repeat that again? So you just said there was no point in watching the game?
Definitely. I mean, this is something that, those meetings where that it could have been an email instead of a whole meeting. So I could just wake up in the morning and just watch the last 10 minutes of the game, and that would have been fine. Yeah.
Well, that kind of detracts from the experience, right? It's all about the experience. Like,
No, it's not about the experience, but the point is that I think I can't recall a weird game. I know we've had a lot of bad performances, but this was a weird game in the sense that like you couldn't say like it was a bad game, or like I could not just figure out what was wrong in my, I don't know. It was just a very, very weird game, to be honest.
Fair points. But this seems like a trend, you know. We can only keep clean sheets during weekdays, can't keep clean sheets during the weekend. But nevertheless, this is another win on the trot now, undefeated, all comms. Things are looking good. But before we get to the good part, it'll be a disservice if we don't touch up on how slowly we started the game and how as early as maybe the fifth or sixth minute when Nkuku was put through on goal from a poor back pass by Vinicius. Like, this has been a trend, right? Like, I'll come to you, Javier. Why do you think we start slow? Is it deliberate or is it just how we work?
On this point, I think it's overconfidence. We have like, I don't know, 8 games this season already. So I think the team is established as a so dominant that they think that they have to do the less amount to win. As if the rival brings a lot of opposition, we thrive. But if it's a slow game, we slow down. So we like to. It seems like we like to play. If this is boxing match, for the points, we never go for the knockout. And this time, and I think this is a very dangerous game to play. Because one game you're gonna face a team that goes to the knockout and cannot and can do it. Maybe Atletico is the first true opponent in that regard. Maybe we have to bring all the guns from the get-go and not start slow and then put the end of the game like we always do. As Farouk said, if we can only play the last 20 to 25 minutes in this game, it's a good game. Other than that, it's a very boring game, and maybe it's gonna cost us in the long run.
Well, to counter that point, we have this kind of in us because, like I said in the last podcast, we do not tend to get actually up to full speed, until the knockouts. It's always been the case. Maybe last year, even last year, we kind of looked off the rails, and I'm judging by all that I see. I'm a little worried about how our players are going to be back after the international break and how we are going to slot back into rhythm again. because it's going to be a huge break. I can already see that we are not up to full speed. And once we have that huge break and then the players come back, it's going to look even more disjointed, actually. But this is definitely, like you said, Javier, a very dangerous game to play. For most of the first half, like up until at least the 35th minute, I felt like our midfield was too safe, too cowardly. There were so many runners open most of the time, and people just chose the easy pass or just passed it sideways or backward. Kamavinga was especially poor in that regard. Like he had a few very good penetrating runs, but even then, the midfield in total looked like a shadow of themselves. Like I felt like we missed Cruz, and it was evident to see when he stepped on, he was pivotal. But I want to come to you again, Doris. Like, why do we kind of sit back so much and try to soak up pressure when you clearly know Leipzig has their own arsenal, and it's a pace that kind of is gonna put you on your back foot if you give them too much space. Like you saw it with Werner, you saw it with Nkunku. If they were lethal, tonight, we would be looking at the match completely differently.
Yes, I agree, because one day we're not gonna be able to come back if they score, and that's something that we have to realize sooner or later, because it's not gonna work like this forever, and everyone knows that we're gonna play like this, so it doesn't stop other teams for preparing for the last 20 minutes against us, because they know that's when we're gonna attack. So that's one point, but the other point is that we don't want to overuse our players, because we cannot expect from Vinicius to run like that the entire game. But Ancelotti is obviously expecting him to, and we can see the obvious improvement in physique in players, but I think it's the only way to keep playing like this is to keep it going, because
you mean to soak up pressure and then kind of
yes, currently we have players that they can play like this, and we've seen it last year because we played like that the whole of the last season, and Modric showed how good he is, also Tony, and this season they started well, and I think maybe after this season is when things are gonna change. Not this season. I think that we're gonna keep playing like this until it stops working.
Right.
Totally. I totally agree with what Doris says, actually, to be honest, because I personally feel like the thing is this, like Carlo Ancelotti is a kind of coach who is a very flexible coach who just plays to the best of what his players are. And as Dory rightly pointed out, right now this is what the players can offer best, so he's just gonna go with them. So as I've always said, like, to be honest, like, I'm not a very, very keen person on Ancelotti. Like, if he leaves today, I wouldn't shed a tear. If he goes, like, but that's a whole different story. What I totally agree with what Doris said, actually.
You gotta take a dig at the old man again. Anyway, but do you think the foul on Modric was a pen? I thought it was a clear pen towards the end of the first half.
I thought it was a 50-50, to be honest. I totally thought it was a 50-50. But actually, the thing is this, like, seeing how much, Modric fought for that pen, I felt like he actually for sure genuinely felt the contact. Because, like, Modric is not someone, who would go and, like, hustle the ref for something which is not there. Because upon seeing it, to be honest, like, I was like, if it's given, fine. Because if it's given against me, I will kind of like contemplate, but the player got to the ball first before that. But then, the follow through also is there. So for me personally, it was a 50-50. But upon seeing how, insistent Modric was, I thought maybe it was more of a 60-40 kind of thing.
I felt like it was a clear pen because the contact was like too big, in my opinion. Softer fouls have been given as pens, and this was clear as daylight. Also, they had a shout with Nkunku. At the other end, the second big chance he had, Thibaut again, kind of helping us out, because Rudiger, in my opinion, for a bit of the game looked uncertain. He was kind of, I don't know, maybe giving Werner too much respect, I felt like. But eventually he got to know, if you kind of back off Werner too much, he's gonna skin you. So as the match progressed, I felt like Rudiger kind of took control of the situation, but for a bit he looked shaky. But overall, in my opinion, he was the standout defender. Maybe Nacho a close second. Do you think the same, Javier? Is Rudiger kind of stepping up immediately?
No, I don't agree with you today. I think I saw Rudiger lot in so many first part plays, and I saw a good Nacho. Like you said, you always said always that Ferland Mendy is a 7 and 8 all the time. I think Nacho as well is a 7 and 8. So the play that you said from Nkunku, it was Nacho goes to cover Timo Werner, and it was supposed to go from Rudiger to support Nkunku, but it was actually Tchouaméni, and that caused that Tchouaméni hits Thibaut Courtois. I was worried that Thibaut is gonna get injured in that play.
I was very nervous. If something happens to Thibaut,
it seems harder. That would be the end of it.
Yeah.
We have 3 games without Benzema, and I think the record is 10 goals against 1. So maybe it's not Benzema dependency, but it's for sure Thibaut. Yeah. Lunin is a good goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong, but against Atletico, and we'll see what happened with the black on the Sunday. That's how important the first option as a goalkeeper will get you in the real competitions.
Black has been a steady servant for so many years, and you can see once you lose that, it's fairly understandable, because once you lose your top keeper, everything from building up from the back and your overall defensive shape, you kind of second guess it. You things that naturally come to you while defending doesn't come as naturally as before. So it's a big deal. We got to wrap this guy up again, like Benzema and bubble wrap. But talking about the defense, I wasn't impressed with Alaba. Do you share the same sentiment, Doris, or do you think?
Definitely, today wasn't his day, but it also has to do with his position, that he didn't play as a center back. He played in Mendy's position as a left back, and we know how Alaba plays. He likes to be offensive, and and a few times he left his position too early, and it caused Leipzig to attack. And the best thing about it is that he didn't even track back. He didn't even try to get to the ball after that, which is a big error from Alaba. He's usually not like this. So.
I don't know if you guys saw the Real Madrid player ratings reveal, with their partnership with FIFA. So they put up a video, I think, yesterday or the day before. So while Vinicius' rating was revealed, they were asking him to guess what's your defending stat gonna be, and he was saying maybe 60 or something, and they revealed it to be 27, and he was annoyed. He was mentioning that I'm always with the wing back. which is
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
which is
I
the
saw
actual
that.
fact. Go on, Javier.
But FIFA is a joke, you know. They
These are the
gave
joke.
like
I'm just trying to get to the point that
they gave like and I think in the same video they gave Fede Valverde like 78 shot.
yeah. I mean, you gotta kind of take it into consideration that Valverde's goal numbers aren't that spectacular. Apart from maybe
Yeah.
this season, like it hasn't
But
been steady.
I don't have the stat, but I think Alaba is the only defender that has played for us in the last, I would say, 5 to 6 games. You know, they always change Militao, Rudiger,
Yeah,
Nacho, Carvajal,
yeah.
Ferland. But I think even as a center back or left back, Alaba is the one that plays most of the game. So maybe he's
Mm.
a little tired.
He's
I
a
don't
little
know.
tired. Like
I think
I
that
could. Mm. Go on,
in
Javier.
no in sorry, I think it's not a bad game for him. You know, he
Mm.
we expect so much, and he probably gave us like a 7. So it's not a bad game, but it's not a good one either. But I think if you have
Seven.
to, if we have to say, maybe no one, probably Jos Fede
Yeah,
gave an A+ game. You know.
yeah. You could say that, but
I,
seven, in my opinion, is a bit too generous. I would give him a 5 because by Alaba's standards, it was very poor. Like you alluded to, he was kind of the guy who didn't get dropped the most. So probably, game time might be catching up to him. But today it was very evident that, like he didn't quite have the lungs to go up and down the pitch today. I don't know why. And the pitch seemed weird, man, from the get-go. I don't know what happened to the pitch. Maybe it got deteriorated like in like 2 games or something. Everybody was slipping. So yeah, I felt like maybe that could be a factor. I don't know, but like the pitch kind of looked worn out. I have no idea what they did to the pitch though.
Okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to stop you there. We're not gonna blame the pitch and be like Klopp.
I'm not gonna blame the
This
pitch,
is
but I
not
I
what
thought
we
was I
do.
was
This
waiting
is
for someone
not
to
what we
bring that
do.
line in. I was waiting
This
for someone
is
to bring the
not
Klopp
what we
line in.
do. I'm just gonna say
Klopp is
that.
the last guy
Definitely.
I want to associate myself with, right? So see, like I'm not someone who books hotels before I marry, So this guy's on another level, basically. You see, so I wouldn't go there, Doris. But yeah, since you mentioned him, fuck Klopp. But we got to actually kind of put it into perspective that the whole of first half and majority of the second half, we were not in optimal gear. We
Sorry,
were
Sunaid.
passing.
Sorry, Sunaid. Not majority of the second half. 90 minutes of the whole game, we were just there on the pitch just to make up the numbers. Even though
Right.
we scored the goals were all from moments of individual brilliance. The dummy from Rodrigo, the cutting from Valverde, because it wasn't a chance for Valverde. I mean, if you could check the XG, I'm sure it's like 0.1 chance of getting a goal there. And then he made something out of nothing. And then it's an Asensio banger. So like it was like for 90 plus 4 minutes, it was just we were on the pitch to make up the numbers. There was nothing, man.
See, we got like, right, Farooq, in your experience from watching the game, right, throughout all these years, that good teams tend to have a bad day, but how they come off the pitch is what matters, right? Like
Definitely,
you can't be perfect. You can't be
Definitely.
perfect every match day, though. So
No. I'm not taking away from the win, man. A victory is a victory. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, like today it's a shitty performance. Obviously, like I'm not gonna come and expect them to, like tear every team apart for every game of the season. No, definitely.
For sure. But don't you think those individual moments of brilliance was also kind of bought in by how we kind of approached the game? Like the people knew, the crowd was getting anxious, Carlo was getting like very nervous. Everybody was like kind of on their edge. They knew that, slipping up or maybe even drawing the game is kind of going to have a bad effect on our morale, because we have had such a bumper start of the season. We really wanted to keep this going. So don't you think that individual moments of brilliance comes from that hunger to get the job done no matter what?
I think something that we can actually relate to this team actually is that across from last year to now, is that one way or another, our players actually have this belief in them that we are better than you. Like whether it's been Man City, whether it's been Liverpool, whether it's been Chelsea, I think that belief on its own is what, brings up moments like this. You get the point. So I feel that's I think rather than, them feeling about like we're going to drop points or this, I feel like, because this thing has already worked. And that's a good thing, like the youngsters, Valverde, Vinicius, Rodrigo, they just believe that, okay, whoever you are, we are better than you. So I think that belief that they have in themselves, like, I don't know if it's in themselves or in the club itself, that is what actually leads to this moments of individual brilliance, in my opinion. Because as we've seen, like, it's been there over and like, I mean, even at the weekend, you can see Frede's goal as well. Like, I mean, those are no wonder goals, and Rodrigo's movements and Vinicius's finishes. So yeah, I think it's about that belief, to be honest, in my opinion.
And you could see like the movement was very poor. I mean, from the front three, because if you guys remember, I had mentioned with the Mallorca game, for the first half, my stream was kind of iffy, and I couldn't completely stay focused with the general play. And people are telling me, the cohesion was not there with Hazard. But I was quick to blame Hazard for being the reason, for being the rotten egg. But it was evident even tonight that the front three doesn't click, which again showcases like how far can we really go without Benzema, because when Benzema is there, everybody's looking up, putting in a ball which they don't have any faith in. Tonight everybody was trying to play to feet, trying to play the perfect ball through the lines, expecting the receiver to find enough space to turn, which is a huge ask, because Leipzig, coming off of a thrashing of Dortmund, they were pretty confident that at least they could stifle a few feathers. So they were pretty good, pretty well set up defensively, I felt like, and our players were looking for Hollywood passes, expecting them to come off. I don't know why it was the case, but very poor movement. And I also felt like you guys know how much I like Rodrigo, and I felt like even though he had a less than stellar night, he was trying. He was being direct. He was at least more visible than Vinicius for large parts, in my opinion. I just felt like the midfield and the overall personnel didn't trust Rodrigo to keep the ball or play clever 1-2s with him, or even put in good balls for him to maybe be on the end of it. Doris, do you think that I'm expecting too much?
I think it's a particular situation today that we didn't have Benzema, so it's something to expect him to replace him on the pitch, and it's not really Rodrigo's job at this point in his career to be able to do that. There are some his age that they can do it, but it's not Rodrigo. Maybe with some time he could do it, but I don't think that him playing as a striker is playing to his strengths, even though some people on Reddit might think that.
Fair point. But in my opinion, he plays a better false nine or a CF than Hazard. He's just very direct. I don't think he.
But playing a false nine is not a thing we do anyway.
So we have the Hazard fan team in the chat. Yadu is saying you guys are being too easy on Rodrigo. He was not good at all throughout the game. So just call a spade a spade. And I am totally with him. Call a spade, except for the dummy Rodrigo. I actually was wondering why he lasted that long in the game, to be honest.
For the dummy, really?
So except for the dummy, man.
all that direct, very incisive runs he made, cutting in from the
My
left.
man, my man.
guys
I mean, that's all guilt. That's what the all guilt or no gold, man. Like it's all fake gold. Anyways, let's just go through the chat quickly before we move on.
Yeah.
So we have Urim James in the chat, and he was actually talking about the foul on Modric, and he was saying actually it's very similar to the foul on Lucas Vazquez in 2018. If you guys could recall, we had the 3-goal advantage that Juventus overturned, and Ronaldo scored the penalty, and he moved on. I think Doris has to go. Okay, Doris, thank you for being on. See
I'm
you.
gonna have to leave.
Have a good night.
See you guys.
Bye.
See you.
Yeah, and then Yadu says that Rudiger actually looked very shaky today. Then also about Asensio, did he redeem himself? Super sub. And then Urimir is saying that Rodrigo kept being clattered on by Leipzig. It's not Rodrigo's fault. He's not a striker, and he cannot play a false nine either. Yeah.
Well, with the options we have, I think he's our best bet. I think he's going to be our best bet if we want to actually keep Benzema kind of fit. We don't have any other option. Next best bet is Mariano, and we all know where we stand with Mariano. But yeah, like you said, it was kind of individual brilliance that saved the day. But Asensio, man scored his 50th goal tonight. Last week he kind of had a fit, throwing the bib and the water bottle and stuff like that. And when Carlo was asked in the press conference, do you think there's a rift between Asensio and the management? He was like, obviously, what do you guys expect? He's not playing. He hasn't featured significantly in any game up to now. He is definitely gonna be, pissed off. But today he kind of, pulled the reverse Uno card, whereby he basically, gestured to Asensio. Well, you threw a tantrum last week. Now we need you. Go show us what you can do. And usual annual Asensio banger, Javier. Is it expected? Was it expected?
The goal expected. The attitude was not expected. I don't. If you saw, I think it's a little earlier on the second goal. I think 2 or 3 minutes earlier, he made a tackle in defense. I think it's the first time, and support Carvajal. I think it's the first time that I saw him do that in his 5 years.
Exactly.
So I praised him for the goal, but I praised him even more because he helped in 2 separate occasions Carvajal.
Walking out defensively, I remember.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that Asensio needs to understand. That Rodrigo and Vini, they're miles ahead. And he has to compete with Hazard and maybe even Lucas Vazquez in that spot. But that being said, I think he understands that this is his last season as a Real Madrid player, and maybe need to put himself a little work to other teams to pick him up, because he put himself on the market this season and no one show up. So he can be mad to everyone, but he needs to understand that if you want to keep playing, you need to improve, or maybe you're gonna be another Isco, pick it in the last minutes of the last game for a team that 2 seasons ago will be a great fit, but Sevilla was scoreless against Copenhagen, so that would be the future of Asensio if he doesn't put the work in the minutes that Ancelotti gives to him.
Isco at least, Javier, he was pivotal in us winning a Champions League. I've said many times on our podcast that Isco was, in my opinion, the reason we won to a decima. I'm not sure Asensio can really say that. Like, I was one of Asensio's biggest advocates, because I watched how he basically broke into the team and was kind of, pushing our starters to be on their toes. So Asensio on his day was really good, but yeah.
Sorry. This reminds me. I heard yesterday in the Spanish media that they said that they did not bring Lewandowski to score 3 goals against Cadiz. They bring him to score against teams like Bayern. It's the same thing for Asensio, you know. You don't need a winger that scores 3 or 5 bangers every single season. You need a winger that provokes and do the kind of stuff that Rodrigo and Vini does every single game. You know, that's the difference. You know, Vini once again assist. I don't know if the UEFA is gonna give him the assist. Maybe for me it's assist for Vini in the Fede Valverde's goal. But that's the thing that you need to do as a winger for Real Madrid. You know, scoring goal, great. Scoring a goal every 10 games, but it's a screamer and the top of the highlights. It's not good enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like same like what people joke about Giroud. Like, you know, if you show someone Asensio's compilation, they might think this guy was Paco Hento. But the real point I wanted to make was I kind of feel for him. Maybe it's me being sympathetic that kind of feels like this, because the way he threw the tantrum, I almost feel like it was because it was Mallorca. It's his former team. He scored a hat-trick against them last year at home. So he was kind of trying to maybe think in his mind, this is going to be the kickstart that I need for the season. But all well and good, you know, he scored a brilliant goal. 50 goals and 24 assists is no shabby number. Like he's not the worst winger we have had, you know, but honestly, in my opinion, he's going to have chances, and he has to be patient, because you could see, like you said, Vinicius and Rodrigo, you know, are clearly miles ahead of him. But I think that pretty much sums it up. It wasn't great. It wasn't pretty. Like Farooq alluded to earlier, elegance was not on the menu tonight. But yeah, efficiency when we kind of got the chance was what we needed, and we got the job done. And yeah, 6 points out of the first 2 games. Couldn't be any more happier. Bring on El Derby at the weekend. Any last thoughts before we wrap up, boys, from your side?
Nothing on my side. I'll just say to the listeners, I think as we discussed in the last pod, we actually are going to be launching, you know, our Reinas Blancas. So on the podcast, guys who are on Apple and Spotify, please can you just check out our introduction to Reina Blancas. We uploaded that a couple of days back. If you just check that, and also follow Memento Madridismo. We have a very, very good thing coming up, hopefully, for you guys.
Also check out Real Madrid Committee, our partners, you know, for over a year now. Link is in the description. Also, Farooq, tell them about the live call-in show we are going to be doing tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're going to be previewing the Grand Derby. That's going to come up at the weekend. Yeah, so we're going to have hopefully a live call-in show. So we're hoping to have something, you know, a grand show tomorrow, a grand preview. So we'll be looking forward to you guys to, you know, call in and give your opinions of what you think about, you know, the evolution of Diego Simeone's team, or rather, I don't know, should I call it the backward movement of the Diego Simeone team, and what is and what is not. I mean, and also I think another interesting topic that we could discuss also would be, you know, the situation of Eden Hazard and Rodrigo, and what is and what is not. And also, you know, Suned has always been pointing the fact that Hazard has been showed so much love as compared to any player he can remember in recent history. So we can also, you know, discuss those as well and see what's the situation looking like to the derby, and also would we want to risk Karim Benzema or not. So yeah, just tune in tomorrow, guys, and give us your opinions as well.
We haven't fixed the time yet, right? So just keep your eye on the socials, people. Also, if you guys are from Reddit, just check for the post. Or if you have subscribed to us, keep your notification bells on, because as soon as we kind of schedule a live, you guys get to know when we come on. And yeah, hopefully we are in a little early and we can have some people who actually missed out on a few call-ins before because of the time zone issues and stuff like that. So I think that's it, right, boys?
Yeah, that's it from our side today. Hala Madrid, people.
Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.